2Ks and Miros, shot in the UK, courtesy of our friend Jason Berman in the UK. If we can get our keynote back on the screen. There you go. So here we are in 2016 talking about Phantom. I thought we'd take a minute or two and look at how we got here. What was the path? And it was more than 10 years ago that Vision Research introduced the first digital high-speed camera, the V10, in 2005. And then this is where the kind of marriage between Abel and Vision Research happened, right on this very show floor, in some hall back about 9 years ago, when Vision Research introduced the HD camera and the Phantom 65, and this was the first time that we had a tool that was getting pretty close to be useful in the production space. Vision Research has a history and legacy of working in the scientific and industrial communities, and they developed their cameras for that market. But when AbelCine and Vision Research got together, it was a real nice marriage in that we brought the production sensibility in terms of what cameramen and camera assistants are looking for in accessories and viewfinders and monitoring and other issues related to production. So there were two cameras, the HD and the 65. In fact, the 65 was the first real 4K camera available that you could buy back then. In 2010, it was the Flex 2K, 2,500 frames per second in HD. There was a SciTech Award. This is the only digital cinema camera to win a SciTech Award up until now. The Miro came along in 2012. We'll talk about the Miro more in a minute. It's a smaller camera. But the state of the art is the Flex 4K camera. Tony Lucatoro from Vision Research is here, the Flex 4K. They've got two or three over in their booth. It is really the high end and has defined high speed for now. 1,000 frames per second at 4K. It looks terrific. The ISO is quite high, lots of dynamic range. It's a full production camera. But what we want to talk about is what's new for 2016. The way these cameras work is a little different from a traditional camera. A regular camera takes an image from a CMOS sensor and puts it directly, oops. Everybody okay? Yeah, we could have imaged that, I guess. So it puts it directly on the media. What these cameras do, the way they work basically in high speed, is there is a RAM buffer between the sensor and the media, which captures the data at this incredibly high bandwidth and high speed. And what's really cool about the buffer is that you can move the trigger, which freezes that buffer, anywhere within that time frame. So you can tell a Phantom camera, I want to start recording everything now, or you can wait for an event to happen, like a hummingbird alighting on a flower, and then trigger the camera. So you can decide where that memory is frozen in time. And then you transfer that buffer to the removable media. Now what's new in 2016 is that until now, it's been uncompressed RAW, a proprietary .cine file that has been recorded in all Phantoms. But this year they introduced ProRes, 422, full res, ProRes, and also audio at sync sound speeds. So in the menu system, you have a choice of whether you want to transfer from the RAM buffer to the memory, to the storage, as either RAW or as ProRes, or you even have a choice to do both. So it'll do one consecutively after the other. And again, Tony's here, we can talk about that and we can look at the Flex 4K. What's always amazed me about the Phantom is how the creative community has taken to this tool and created images and sequences that we as technologists and vendors just haven't been able to think of. And I just thought we'd take a moment to see a couple of those. These are really different uses of the Phantom. So if we could look at the next clip. Film, the protagonist, Jake Gyllenhaal, throws a left. The whole movie revolves around that shot where the contender or the opponent falls to the ground and he wins the fight. Here's a very, very different use of Phantom, if we can run the next clip.
To the body, trading shots.
Pawing with his jab, Creed looks to land one big shot.
Donnie, get up!
Get up, D!
Come on, baby.
Hello? Yeah, okay. So we were talking about the Miro. 3 pounds, this came out in 2012, right? 3 pounds, 1920, 1080, did 14 or 1500 frames a second, high ISO, global shutter, PL or EF mount, an amazing camera. And what we have today, which we're showing as a preliminary product introduction, is the new VIO camera. And in many ways, it's the offspring of the Flex 2K and the Miro. And Megan from our Chicago office was going to go through the specs of the camera and show it to you.
All right, thanks Mo. Hi everybody, I'm Megan from AbelCine Chicago office. So here with us today is the Phantom VEO camera, the new camera announced at NAB 2016. So first we wanted to go over the specs of the camera, and then I'll point out all the in and outs and the workflow of the camera as well. So go over some of the specs. You can see the camera right here. It's a very small form factor, right? So it's a 5-inch cube form factor. So you can think about all the rigging options that allows you. We have some clips as well to show you those possibilities. Resolution, it's 2560 by 1600. So essentially a 2.5K resolution. So great high-end resolution. At 1400 frames, at full resolution, it can do 1400 frames a second. So again, a high speed at 2.5K resolution. If you have the camera at 1920 by 1080 resolution, you can bump that frame rate up to 2500 frames. So again, depending on the type of shot, what you're shooting, is it a product shot or is it people, really changes, how slow you need that frame rate to be, and then also the resolution that you need. So those are both great high frame rates. It has 72 gigabytes of internal RAM. So the workflow for the camera is similar to the Miro. Right, so Mo was talking about with the Miro, you have the RAM, so you record a shot to the RAM, you could trim it, then you save it to the mag. That's essentially what you would do with the VEO as well. But with 72 gigabytes of RAM, that's a huge amount of memory. You can do multiple takes. You can partition the RAM to do multiple takes that way as well, depending on your workflow. As I mentioned, you can record to CFast card removable media. I'll show you where that is in the camera. That's similar to the Miro as well. It doesn't have run stop mode, just like the Miro doesn't. So that's why you would record to the RAM first. trim it, and then save it to the media. That would be your workflow. And you can play back from the RAM as opposed to playing back from the CFast card. Okay, so just next I'll move on to showing you the in and outs of the camera and the physical size of it as well. Okay, so now I'm here with the new camera. As I said, the Vision Research Phantom VEO camera. So the form factor is very small, right? This white camera. We have a lot of our AbelCine Cameo products attached to it to accessorize and make it able to add more accessories. Mo's going to go over a lot of those in more detail. But just so you can see the body of the camera, we have the time code out, right? So you can send time code out of the camera as well as time code in. So it makes it very useful for cinematic production. The rest of these in and outs here are more for the industrial side of what VRI does with their cameras. So I'll stick to the cinematic operations for now. And then also we have a trigger here, so you can use it with the pickle switch that you would use with the other Phantom cameras as well if you wanted to record from a trigger. All right, so moving on, you can see the back of the camera here. This is the fan, so the fan comes out of the back of the camera. This is your trigger button. So if you're familiar with the way the other cameras work, we hold this button to get into capture mode, and then when you do your shot, you hit trigger to decide if you want a post trigger or a pre-trigger, and that would be your take. And I can do a couple of shots later to show everybody if you're interested. This is where the CFast media goes into the back of the camera, right? Very small form factor. All of our playback buttons are really easily accessed here on the right. So you go into playback mode, you can play the clip, you can speed it up forward or backwards. And then also, as we mentioned, with so much, a large file, you have to trim the file in order to save it. That's the best workflow. So you can trim the file here as well. We have a USB stick in addition, so firmware from here. Okay, so Wi-Fi control through the USB stick. And then going through the bottom of the camera, if you can see that, here's your menu right here. Let me pass on this. So I can push this button and get up to the menu and see it on my on-screen display for my viewfinder. So it works similar to the Miro in that way. What's really nice about this camera too is you don't necessarily have to be tethered to a laptop, but you could work that way as well if you wanted to, like you did with previous Phantom cameras. We have a 1080 signal HSDI out the back. We could view live or playback, right, from the RAM, playback from the RAM. Here's our Ethernet connector, so if you did want to tether to a Phantom Tech's laptop to control the camera that way through the Vision Research PCC software, you could do it that way as well. Our power connector here, so right now we're feeding it 12 volt. Right, you can take 12 volt accessory through here for power, and then 24 volt through the power connector next to it. And that's really the range of the camera. So we're going to go over next the Cameo products. It is EF mount or PL mount, so you can change that as well. It has HDMI out, which is really nice if you wanted to use an HDMI monitor instead of HSDI. And then here is your SDI port. So we have a mini SDI, and that's how we're viewing it through our small HD monitor right now. And that's it. So the camera is really easily used from a camera assistant side as well as a DP side. Really easy to understand from that perspective. So I think that's a nice advancement as well.
So we can just mention the Cameo accessories, what we're calling the Essential Kit. Vision Research has designed and built this camera primarily for their industrial scientific market. And again, it's this kind of marriage between AbelCine and Vision Research where we bring the production accessories. So we've got cheese plates which go on the top or the bottom or the side. The same plate can be put in either place. Batteries can be mounted on the cheese plate, either AB or V-lock batteries. There's a riser that connects to the cheese plate on the bottom, so you can have rods coming out the front or the back. And out, if they're out the back, you can put a battery on the back as well through the rods. There's a rosette bar on the left side, or the what we call the operator side, what we used to call the operator side. So that rosette bar you can put on either side of the camera. You can even have two on the other, Steven, on the other side. And then we've got this accessory we call the monitor swivel mount on the top. So this is designed to work with many different cameras, or any camera that you want to stick a monitor onto. So it's got this quick release function. You kind of pinch it, and it'll come off. We can show that to you afterwards, probably better than here. And then you can put it back on very easily, so the monitor can come off the camera very quickly. And then it pans, it tilts, it does everything you want it to do. Oh, and the handle. There's a way to carry the camera, which we found useful in getting it from over there to here, and anywhere you want to move the camera. And of course, we're always open to where we need to go next with the accessories. And the accessories will be available certainly through AbelCine, but also on a worldwide basis through Vision Research, through all of their distributors. So again, I do really appreciate the way that the creative community, in all seriousness, does use this technology. And as the cameras get smaller, it seems one byproduct of that, one function of making a smaller camera is that you can move it more easily. And there have been some rather amazing shots done, in particular with the smaller cameras, with the Miro. I'd like to show you two clips. One using a Movi system. This was done a year or two ago. So it's a Movi and a Miro, and it's this bronze medal winner, Nick Gepper, talking about his skiing style. So if we can get that clip to play, it would be nice.
You show up to a mountain in the morning and you roll to the park with all your buddies, and the park is perfect. That's why I ski. I really have a competitive personality and I want to be the best. And in slopestyle skiing, that's what I strive for. An unnatural double cork 1260 is one of the hardest things to do on snow. The first thing I think about is, do I have the right speed? A good takeoff leads to a good trick. So I have a nice explosive pop off the end. I reach my hand down and find the tail of my ski, and I grab the very tip. I tweak it out to the side. The tweak helps the rotation spin faster. So I let go of the grab, I uncross my skis, and I drop to the landing. An unnatural double cork 1260 is a rare trick because you're spinning the opposite direction that you're used to.
I just love the picture in the center there, where you've got the skier and the camera person both in the air. And again, this idea that you could take a camera, a small camera, and stabilize it in this kind of environment is just incredible. And I think this new VO camera is going to open itself up to this kind of application as well. But then some people are marrying these small high-speed cameras with very high-speed robotic arms. There's one on display around the corner here somewhere. This Mark Roberts system, the Bolt high-speed Cinebot, which can move at breathtaking speed. You stand next to this thing, you just don't. The main thing, I think, you just don't want to be in the way when it's moving. But there's this clip again from our friends in the UK, Jason Berman. If we could show the next clip, this is a commercial about cereal, C-E-R-E-A-L, cereal, and it shows some of the behind the scenes shot with a real-time camera and also with a high-speed camera. So if we can show that clip.
I seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power.
So again, this idea of high-speed camera movement and high-speed imagery, I think we've only scratched the surface. And this camera is going to, take it to that next level. So we thought if you'd wanted, we can gather around. Megan can do a quick demo. We've got a little roulette table. She got it at the gift shop. And Tony from Vision Research is here if you have any further questions. But we can actually do a couple of shots and play them back on this little display. Okay, thank you.